everyone, and welcome back to Short Circuits. So I've been working on a lot of different projects recently, and each one of them has their own little bit and bob and thing that I need to get my hands on, and because of that, some of them are taking a lot longer than others, but I came up with an impromptu project that I think I have all the parts for. So we're going to take a look at it today, and that project is this thing in a bag. So it's a Nintendo Wii, and of course, what I want to do with it, I have no idea what that does. Anyway, what I want to do with it is I want to modify it. Now, the reason why I want to modify this Wii, and as you can see by the $9.99 sticker on there, or the 66.6 cents sticker on there if you're reading it from your direction. You're upside down to me, so I'd have to turn it this way for you. Anyway, so yeah, the $9.99 sticker on there is I have a Nintendo Wii, and I never really bought many games for it, and I don't really use it that much. I wanted to modify a Wii, but I didn't want to modify my Wii that I have that works. So I've seen a few of these out in the wild, and you can find Wiis out in the wild all the time, because people, again, they don't know what the hell to do with them. Like, I got this box with a CD player in it, what the hell do I do with it? I've actually not opened this since I bought it. I literally paid 10 bucks for this thing, and it's been sitting in the bag for a couple of days, about a week, maybe a week and a half. Anyway, I bought it specifically to modify it, because you can soft mod these, depending on a couple of features, and I hope this thing doesn't smell like ass. Ooh, there might be blood on it. You can't see that, but there might be blood. Waggle stick is waggly. Well, this waggle stick is waggly. It's not really waggly. Buttons are clicky. The bottom of it's not broken. The cord is dirty as hell. Alright, this guy looks like he's got a crack in it right here in the front. I don't know if you can kind of see. Again, white on white. There it is. Okay, see that crack right there? I'm not going to consider that a bad thing. If I wipe my finger across the panel, there's a couple of tiny scratches, but nothing bad. Button is clicky. Ooh. Ew. Okay, that's a little stickier than I like. Don't know if that works. Don't care, I have spares, but kind of what the hell is that? Okay, this is either no, this is not Nyko. I think this is an aftermarket plate, because all of mine are just straight, and this says Nyko on it, and that is not Nintendo. This is a Wii branded, so I'm thinking this is an original Wii controller with a Nyko replacement base plate. Does that button work? Yeah, it's just recessed. So okay, all these buttons work. This one's a little sticky. There's some brown stuff here. Yeah, well, you can definitely see that. Brown stuff there, probably dirt or finger goop or barbecue sauce or something. All the buttons are working, and I don't see any batteries. Apparently, it's see-through. The battery. There you go. The battery. Okay, there's a delay, so I can't see where my hands are actually moving. Yeah, there's a see-through panel here. And they didn't leave the oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, they did. Okay, so apparently they left the batteries in, and that brown stuff that you see moving around, that little, don't fall in. Come here. Oh, okay, well, there. Okay, that brown stuff right there is battery acid. So that's a thing that happens. And then if you look up in here, again, there's some acid, like corrosion on the plastic here, and there's definitely corrosion on the tongs, but there's no corrosion on this end. There's no corrosion on this plate here either. So I'm thinking that the battery that they used exploded, because from the looks of it, there's corrosion on these prongs, and then the acid goes up into the bottom of the panel over here, and then it kind of sprayed up a little bit into the, it's further down, but yeah, that might just be acid dust. Anyway, so yeah, there's a little bit of leftover acid from the battery. So I'm thinking the battery exploded. Probably a cheap ass battery, or they put this on some sort of third-party charger. The wrist strap, which of course is wrist strappy, is just a wrist strap. There's nothing special about it, except that it's tied itself in a damn knot. No, like it really, it literally is coiled. It's, oh wait, does that? No, it was pulled through in such a way. It's that annoying, you know, that annoying thing that happens to your seatbelt in your car? You have to, yeah. So apparently it got pulled through in a funky way. So, you know, I don't really care that much. I'm probably not going to be using it very much. I'm hoping there's a way to bypass this whole dealy-bob entirely. It did come with a rubber cover. Long story short, the rubber thing that goes around your Wiimote is there because people are stupid. As with anything in the world. Alright, now the great thing is I don't have to take the sticker off the Wii because it's on the bag. And I don't have to keep the bag because I'm going to keep the Wii. Now, I did say that you can find these out in the wild, pardon me, fairly often, and you can. The only downside about finding them out in the wild is the doors, because people break these off all the time. They smash into them, they kick them, they're open so that you can put memory cards in, and you have the GameCube slots, and people just break them off. They just shatter all the time. And so you find these with these doors missing, and you just have this open plate. And I guess you could have one like that, but I'm a stickler for a little bit of niceness, and so I wanted one with the doors. And this one has its doors, but as you can see, this little guy over here is having a little bit of an issue. Again, I was having issues with black on black, and now I'm having issues with white on white. But anyway, this little guy's having a little bit of issues because this back one here, the pin isn't broken, as you can see, but whatever it's supposed to fit into... Actually, I wonder if I could just... Nailed it. All right, so... Fixed. Yeah, so these doors... Oh, okay, so this one's just as good as the other one. I knew the door was broken when I bought it. Now this one, as you can see, doesn't actually open quite as far as its compatriot, but I don't care. Yeah, so I knew the door was broken when I bought it because you could obviously see it. This was in the package, but I'm looking at the doors because that's what I always check for, and the door was broken. I'm like, oh, well, I can figure out a way to fix it. But the pin's working, so... Yeah, insta-fix. Look at that. I was like, oh, I gotta fix this door. I don't have to glue anything. I do want to clean it up, however. Now, it even has the door on the front here. SD card here. And then reset button is okay. Power button feels okay. Eject button's okay. There's a little bit of sticky... not sticky residue. There's a little bit of residue on the eject button. But what's really interesting is I haven't used my Wii in a very long time. And it has a little bit of brown schmutz near the eject button, too. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. Maybe this thing just leaks brown schmutz. Model number RVL001 USA. So this is what's considered a Gen 1 Wii. And what's really interesting is another reason I wanted to pick this up is because apparently this backwards compatibility was very shortly removed in revision 2 and 3, or what would be called the Wii Slim or Wii Lite. This was removed completely, so the GameCube backwards compatibility was gone. I'm like, dude, I did not know that. I honestly thought there was only one revision of the Wii that always had this, because every version of this I see out in the wild literally has these, and now that I know that it doesn't, I'm like, I have to get another one and mod it. So yeah, we're gonna give this thing a little bit of a clean, nothing special. It's actually... I expected there to be more work involved in fixing this little guy up, only because the door was broken. I'm like, oh, the door's broken, you know? To mod this, I have not set anything up yet. Get back to the point. To mod this, you have to use an SD card. No, SD? Okay, I gotta check something. Is this the same size? Sorry, I was using this for color testing earlier. Okay, this is the same size, so I could actually use this 16 gigabyte SanDisk one that I have lying around. But I don't think I'm going to, although I might. I actually bought that for an EverDrive. But I do also have this regular old-fashioned 4 gigabyte Lexar Platinum 2 SD card, which apparently has like a copy protection ring on the side. I have no idea what that is, but apparently it's a thing. You can use an SD card and you put some stuff in it, and you just that, and boom, you can mod your Wii. So in order to do that, I do have to set up the software portion of this gig, which I haven't really researched much. I just took a quick look and saw that you could, depending on the version. So I'm going to get this little guy set up and put together. I got to get my capture card out because I think I coiled it up and stuffed it in a hole somewhere. And then once I do that, we will take a look at what version of the OS is on here. Maybe snoop at some of the save games that might be on there because it is an internal memory card. And then see if we can hack this little guy and make him ours, make him functional for us. Alright, so as you can see from my desktop here, I do have some things plugged in. I got my Dazzle down there. Now, component cables, I always get the two mixed up. The component cables can be used in a composite video system if you use the green cable. I read that online. Green cable. Obligatory coffee sip. If you use the green cable to plug it in, you can get a composite signal out. I guess it's just a backwards compatibility thing they added in, which works and is nice and is not something commonly known, or maybe it is and I just didn't know it. But I did also realize something very important. Now, this did not come with a sensor bar, as you may know. I do already have a Wii, which has a sensor bar, which is great. Actually, this little guy might have been dropped. Sorry, I just realized there's a crack right there. But again, I'm modding this thing, so worst case scenario, I brick it. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work and I'm out $10. This is going to be a repairing a Wii video. Anyway, so I have a Wii and I have a sensor bar, but the sensor bar I have was one that actually stopped working for my old Wii. I got a new remote sensor bar. That sounds really weird, but it was a wireless. That's the word I'm looking for. A wireless sensor bar, but I can't seem to find it anywhere. I don't know actually where it is. It's a big, chunky thing too. I know exactly what it looks like. It looks like an alien boomerang, but I'm unable to locate it, so wherever it is, I hope it's living a happy life in a closet somewhere. However, what I did do is I did plug in my old sensor bar, hoping, against hope, that it will magically work for this Wii. And if nothing else, at least something to give it a try. Now, I did replace the Wiimote with one of my spares. I have several. This one is just a regular one, you know, but it doesn't have corrosion on the inside, and I didn't clean the corrosion out of the other one, and it's got the regular plastic back that's not as disgusting to play with. So I'm going to pair it with this guy as soon as I can. We'll see if it works. Unfortunately, I am told that you cannot navigate the Wii menu without the sensory sensor bar part. Here's a weird, fun fact, and I'm gonna say I'm tempted. If this doesn't work, I'm tempted, but I didn't try it yet. Someone had asked on Reddit a few years ago if you could navigate the Wii menu without the sensor bar. Not without the remote, but without the sensor bar. And someone said, in reply, use 2 tea candles spread apart about the length of the sensor bar and light them. Works like a charm. Now somebody else came through later and said that it also works. So it's either a double troll or the sensor bar is not a transmitter, or it's not a receiver like I thought it was, and it's just a transmitter, and then the Wiimote itself wirelessly sends data to the Wii. I find that absolutely insane. But hey, worst case scenario, I have no problem adding fire to any situation to make it better. But we're going to try to use the plastic one first. So, you know what might help? This might actually help a little bit. I was concerned about a puff of smoke, and so unfortunately I had not yet did the dirty with the gray box. I had not plugged the gray box in just yet. Now this gray box came not with this one, but I bought it at the shop at the same time. Alright, now it's all plugged. Whoa, hi! Hi! Hi, hello. He's on. Yeah, that's what I was hoping to avoid, was the automatic sudden on-ness of it. But he's on. Sounds are happening. Now, the Dazzle may not be picking up a signal. Whoop. What happened? Where'd my little box go? Hello. I think I broke it. Is there anything going on? Signal detects 0, lines detect 0. So apparently it's not getting any signal. Okay, I would have to test it to see if it is getting a signal. So unfortunately, this is going to be one of those situations where I'm going to have to fiddle with the cords and the cables and maybe find my actual cable that has an actual composite cable on there so that I can just do this raw and proper. So for that, let me go do some fiddling and I'll be right back. Okay, so I was able to find a couple of things. I went out hunting. I found my original Wii cable. That's this little guy here, and plugged it in. Powered on the Wii and still no screen. Now, I tested it just to make sure because I had to plug the Dazzle back in. I want to make sure the Dazzle was working. I tested against my PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2 image came up fine, which means the Dazzle's working fine, so the problem is somewhere between the Wii and the Dazzle. Downside is I'm getting a black screen, and so I'm not certain what to do with that. So give me a little bit of time to research and we'll find out what's going on. Alright, here we are again. So, my TV is getting a signal from both cables, but the signal is black. Now, I've done some interneting, and there's something on the Wii called the black screen of death, which of course is from a bad update, homebrew that failed, yada 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 yada. But some people were experiencing an issue where they were using component cables and then they switched to composite and it garbled their signal or black screened them. Yeah, I don't think that's the problem here because I'm getting nothing with either cable and either my Dazzle or my television set, so I'm getting no signal on either. But somebody did mention to reset your settings, and they're like, how do I format my settings? They said, well, go to the settings menu, and you're like, yeah, okay, now how do I do it from outside the Wii? Someone said remove the battery from the bottom of the Wii, and I'm like, battery? And the only thing I can think of is right here. There is a teeny tiny door with a teeny tiny screw. So, I mean, if this battery is dead, which it probably is, if the battery is dead, which it probably isn't, it's not going to work for me. If the battery is not dead, then this might work to like reset the BIOS without deleting everything on the drive. Of course, I don't think I need to delete everything on the drive. I don't want to either. What I do need, however, is the proper tool for this, and I don't have it. Be right back. Alright, got what I was looking for. Found a screwdriver that should work, and because I already tested at least the fit, and the fit did fit. So, there you go, lefty loosey, righty tighty. So, as far as I know, unscrewing this and pulling out the battery may... How long is this screw? Pulling the door out with it, so I guess it's as long as it needs to be. Is that as far as it goes? Yeah, looks like it's as far as it goes, so... I'll pull you out now. Oop, hello. Oh, here you go. So look at that, one battery. I did not know this thing had a battery. The CR2032. Well, I have replacements for these if I need them. This one, of course, looks fine. These batteries can last a bajillion years. Although this one says 0907, possibly a date. Sorry, 0907. Let me try that again. Possibly a date stamped by Nintendo. That's going to mean that it is the 9th month of 2007. That's probably it. So, reinsert the battery. Now that probably just reset the BIOS. So all the settings should go back to default, one would hope. Now that only works if somehow someone somewhere changed a setting. Oop, that's the right way? Oh no, it wasn't. If someone changed the setting, that's now screwing me over. If that's not the case, then it's not going to help any. But it's a start, and it's less invasive than some of the other things I could be doing with it, including throwing rocks at it or punching it in the kidneys, you know, things like that. So we're going to put, I know I'm off screen, but I got to do this without hitting any of the power buttons or anything. All right, power on, and I'll plug this bar back in, even though it's not been needed thus far. I might as well have all the cables plugged in. All right, so my power light is back on as per the usual. Dazzle is going to be kicked on here. There it is. All right, and the light is green. De nada. Alright, we still got nothing. Now, I think I pointed this out a minute ago, but if not, I'm going to point it out again. There's a crack right here. You guys see that on the base? And that unfortunately suggests that somebody dropped this at some point. And if you drop electronics hard enough, things inside can be jostled loose. Like, say, for instance, an ATI video chip. And so there's a chance that the droppage of this could have damaged some internals, which is why it's outputting a signal. And I know this because my television set will say a signal is being detected. when a signal is detected, and it does that. It does that exact thing. But it shows me nothing. I'm also not getting any kind of audio. The Wiimotes will not sync properly, as we have seen before. The Wiimotes will not sync properly, which suggests that, and I've left this on for several minutes and nothing has come through, so even like a delay in booting up is probably not the case here, not like what you'd normally see. So try this again. Sync. So yeah, it's probably not a delay issue. Some people report a delay in video or a delay in audio, or they see video but get no audio, and in either case, there's something coming through. I'm getting neither audio nor video of any kind. It's not syncing with my Wiimotes. The Wiimote it came with, it's not syncing with that one. You'd think it'd be automatically synced with that one, and it's not. And so if it's not syncing with that one, it could be another issue. So there's a couple of options I have to try to, again, soft mod this little guy. There's some unbricking options. I'm going to assume at this point that it's a brick issue. Now the downside of that, with it being a bricking issue, that someone may have tried to mod it before me and bricked it, is that if it's a bricking issue, anything I do to fix it is going to erase basically everything on it, which if there are any games on it or anything like that, we don't get to see that, and that makes me sad, if only because I love seeing the little time capsules that we leave behind. It'll save games, like when the last time someone played a game was, what games they like to play, what they had installed on it, things like that. Those are always fun to look at. Those have always been fun to me. So without being able to see that, it does kind of make me sad. But if I can unbrick it and not have to tear the whole thing open to get to the insides, that will make me happier than seeing somebody else's stuff I was going to delete anyway. Because I doubt there's any like Wii games on here that I'm like so uber happy about that I wouldn't delete them or try to back them up before I got them. Maybe if they had a classic console on there, I would try definitely to strip that of anything available. But when you soft mod something, you can homebrew, and homebrew comes with its own classic console type stuff, its own emulators and whatnot, and so it's not really important. So a more modern game would be more like it, and even a more modern game, like there's very little on the Nintendo Wii that I'm super concerned about. Alright, so it's several hours later, and well, let's see if it still happens. There we go. So the Wii is working. I did not record how I got this to work, and the reason why is because this was not a repair video. This is not an eBay junk to something new. I bought this hoping that it would function, and it did not. And I fiddled with it off camera, and while I was fiddling with it, I had to learn how to take it apart, and I had to learn how to put it back together. And what's funny is the fix. I will explain what the fix is, but now that it's back together, I can't point out the exact flaw. But as I had said previously, there is this crack here right on the side where it appears that it had been dropped. And as a matter of fact, I believe it in fact had been dropped here, and it landed on this corner. Because one of the problems with the black screen on a Wii is that the Bluetooth dongle, internal dongle, which is a daughter board connected to the motherboard via a simple connection ring, I guess you could call it, is right between, right here, you can't really see it, but it's right between here, actually. It's right in this area, behind or between, actually it's between the SD card, or at least this red button, and here there's a card in there, and it's a daughter board, and it's connected via just a little press, I guess it's a press switch. Basically, there's a nub on the board, and the daughter board, or the Bluetooth daughter board, fits over that nub. And it's fairly tight. There's a metal plate over the top of it that holds it in place. But when it was dropped, that got jostled loose. And if it's loose, the Wii won't boot up because it thinks the Bluetooth is broken, so it just black screens. And I found a video. I didn't have a tri-ring screwdriver, so I found a video on how to pop it out easily. And I was able to pull the front plate off and then pop it out, and it was only then that I realized how it actually connected to the motherboard. And I realized because of the metal plate that was over the top of it, I couldn't get it back in. So I had to take the drive out, everything out, And I didn't pull the plate off completely, but I pulled the front screws out and I lifted the plate enough to get the solder board back in there, and I pressed it down as hard as I could, hoping that I at least got it back into place. Screwed it all back together without any hope that it was going to turn on, and I was just going to leave it for dead. And I just plugged it all back in and I powered it on, and bam, there is as you can see it on the screen there is the Wii up and running. So with that, I think I have to sync these two together because they are not synced. So let's see if I can sync these together now. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and pop up on the bottom, hit my sync button. So we're blinking syncing. Hit the sync button on this one. Should I see a pause? There it is. Okay, so we're now synced up 1-to-1. Okay, I think we're ready to get started here. I'm going to go ahead and take an obligatory sip of coffee. And yes, that's the same cup that's been sitting there for several hours, so that coffee is extremely cold. However, I don't mind drinking it that way, it doesn't bother me. So I have loaded up my little SD card here, which you actually can't see at that angle. Let me try that again, the little SD card here. And it's ready to go to load up, hopefully, the installer I'm looking for. So the way it works is I'm supposed to insert this little guy here and close that up. Not that you guys saw that, even though I did try to position it to where you could, but apparently it's just out of range. But it goes in the SD card slot. Then we're going to go ahead and boot up our Wii. We're going to take a quick look. So again, this is one of those things I like to do. It's soft modding. I'm not a big fan of hard modding, mostly because you have to buy the chips and get them sent to you and so on and so forth, and I'm not a huge fan. So if I can remember correctly, it says I have one today, but there's always one today. You have the play history, playtime, that kind of thing. Is that the me channel? Now it does say you may have to go back a day. Let's see my back. Okay. Alright, so it looks like... Are you not working? Saturday the 17th. That's what day it thinks it is. That's not the day it is. It's not even October of 2009, so I guess it should tell me something. Oh yeah, right, I reset the BIOS. That's why the date's wrong. And who would have thought it would have been so simple as that? So it turns out everything was on the card exactly like it was supposed to be. However, looking at the data on the card, the installer or the zip file is actually separated by date codes, and it said 2019. And I realized that the date on my calendar said 2009. So basically my hack was 10 years out of date. So I went into the calendar, to the date time settings, and I literally just told it what day it actually was, and it turns out that the letter bomb is on 11/6 of 2019. So very simple. And with that, we're going to go ahead and see if I can brick this sucker. Booyah! That was a very quick stack overflow. Not really a stack overflow, it's a memory overflow, but that was fast. So NAND memory in this thing must not be very big. Either that or the process is really fast. This software must not be sold, neither alone nor as part of a bundle. If you paid for this software, received it as part of a bundle following payment, you have been scammed and should demand your money back immediately. Now, if I remember correctly, I can't actually use this with it. I should have grabbed... I have GameCube controllers everywhere. I should have grabbed a GameCube controller while I was at it, because I understand you can use it. Oh, press 1 to continue. Maybe I can use this with it. Oh, here we go. So, PackMe installer version 1.2. The test results are in using iOS version. Installer 5.8 HBC50 homebrew channel can be installed. BootMe can only be installed as an iOS. Ooh. Installed boot 1 version prevents a boot 2 install. So the issue here is I was actually hoping I could do a boot 2 install, is that if I do brick this thing, it'll be almost impossible to unbrick it if I can't install as a boot 2. That's irritating, but there are ways to fix it if it goes bad. But since the whole point was to mod this thing, we're just going to go with it, so we're going to continue. Okay, so we have install a homebrew channel, boot me. So, okay, yes please. Yay, success, I like that. What about boot me? I can install boot me as iOS. I don't really like this, but there's no way I can get around it. It looks like this revision number or update number is new enough to where I have to install as iOS rather than a boot 2. So we're going to go with iOS. A boot me install requires an SD card. Runtime files will be written. These are required to properly boot. Yeah, I have one. Okay, here we go. Install boot me iOS now. Yes, please. Success. I like that. That makes me happy. Okay, uninstall, preparation, return to main menu, and exit. The Homebrew channel. And that's basically it for now. And what I mean by that is there's nothing here because I have nothing installed. I have no apps or anything installed. But the Homebrew channel is up and running. It is on here. I think I can go here. So network not installed, which is fine. I'm not going to go online. The Homebrew channel credits. Homebrew channel was made possible by the following people, and then we have a lot of really weird names from people who have been hacking for at least a couple of days. All good people, I'm sure. I can launch boot me, which will allow me to install apps. I can exit to the system menu or shut down. If I launch boot me, that should get me to, here we go. Now this is nice. Unfortunately, I think with boot me, I forgot. I think I have to navigate with like the, is it the power and reset buttons you can navigate with on this one? Yeah, okay. Power and reset buttons are how you navigate with this, oddly enough. So I can say NAND to SD and SD to NAND. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to back up my NAND. You really want to back up your NAND, so I'm going to do that first. So that's what it's doing now. So that must be a physical representation of everything on the chip. Yeah. All right. So what this is doing is this is copying my NAND as it sits right now. Everything written into memory, including all the channels I have installed, all the save games that might be in there, those two little me's we saw earlier. This is everything that's on the NAND memory chip. And it's not a perfect fix, but if for any reason I do brick my Wii, I should be able to use a couple of pieces of software to put it back together again. Worst case scenario, if I perma brick it, there is a way to fix it, but it does require a soldered in mod chip. Something I've been attempting to avoid, but again, it's not that big of a deal if it doesn't, or if it's something I have to do later. Because again, found a cheap Wii and we're making it work. Wii! Alright, so we'll finish watching this wonderful gig go through. Ooh, looks like we found a bad block. Well, not bad, one out of a lot, but we'll let this thing process through. Factory bad block. I wonder if that came out. I wonder if that means it actually came out of the factory with a bad block on the NAND. Because they're not perfect. They're not going to be 100% perfect. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to let this thing run through, and I guess I'll see you guys after the fast forward. Alright, looks like we made it. Hit any button to exit, so I'm going to go ahead and just hit the reset button, I guess. Hey, there it is. Alright, so we backed up our NAND. So that's a good start. I don't know what else to do. I guess at this point we're going to back up. I like this menu. Wish this was like all the menus that I had. This would be the best menu ever. Alright, so we're just going to hit B, and that should take us back to the Wii menu, I hope. And we hit our A button. And boom, we got the Homebrew channel on there. Alright, so the Homebrew channel is installed. This thing is up and running, and for all intents and purposes, there it is, we can install and run some Homebrew, which is great. What that means is I'm going to have to research some Homebrew. Because I honestly don't know what all I can put on here. And it's just something else to try out. I think I came up with a goal, though. For all my modding, I want to see how many consoles I can get Chrono Trigger to run on. That's my goal. I have it running on my Xbox. I have it running on my PC, on my PSP. If I can get it running on the Wii, that'll be another one. See if I can get it running on, hell, maybe my PS3, PS4, I don't know. Let's get Chrono Trigger running on everything I can, because that seems to be always the game I'm going for, is the SNES version of Chrono Trigger, because when I first played that game, which is funny because I never even heard of it until I got into SNES emulation on the PC, and I just downloaded it because like, oh, Chrono Trigger, don't know what that is, let me just play that. And I played it, and I fell in love with it. I just love that game so much. And so if I could if I could just get that running on everything, that'll be my goal and make me happy. Not really, but it just occurred to me that that's the game I tend to put on there first. But I would like to see if it would run things like maybe it'll run PSP games, backup PSP game. Who knows? Maybe there's a PlayStation emulator. I don't really play Dreamcast games. Maybe there's a Dreamcast game. I honestly don't know what I want to do with it, but I do want to at least maybe get it turned into a DVD player or something. You know, because I have it and I edited it and now it's a thing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call it for this particular video. So for now, I'd like to thank you all very much for joining me for Kilobyte Short on this episode of Short Circuits. And I will absolutely see you guys next video.